All right, General Fund reporting for duty. I am here. We are. This will be September of 1776, the Virginia Yorktown campaign, and I have realized that the British player has lost. There's no possible way for them to win the scenario. One, the French army's arriving. They're going to get 15 French regulars at any one port, which I'm going to land them in Norfolk. The Continental Army is going to get a large reinforcements in Baltimore. And I'm going to have even a rebel militia that I can put into the countryside. And this is the only British force that's left. It's just two regulars and a Tory militia. And I will get 10 British on the last month in November, and I get to put them in any port. But even if, like, I was able to be sneaky and say, like, drop them in Alexandria and try to run them up here the last turn to destroy the commerce counter, it has to be at the beginning of the movement phase, and I won't have another movement phase after November. So this is a win for the Continental Army. I'm not really sure where I went wrong with the British player. I was aggressive with the commerce counters, which I had to be, and I think it all came down to that there was one very critical role where I got lucky. The English player got lucky with the cards, and if I would have rolled anything other than a 1, I think I would have been in really good shape. I might have even been able to just completely eliminate the defenders, and that would have led to an English win. So anyway, the historical consequences of this battle were huge. It did lead to the end of the Revolutionary War. What made this part of the war so much different was that this really truly was more like an actual civil war and less like a revolution. There were a lot of Tories in this area. There were there's a lot of strangeness to the early American experience, because the first casualty in the War of Independence is a black man who is a member of the Sons of Liberty by the name of Crispus Attucks, and he is shot at the Boston Massacre. And his death is a seminal point in the beginning of the American Revolution. But then you have this problem once you get to this southern part of the colonies, because there is slavery here as a system, and the colonists, of course, want to keep this system going because they profit from it. They're absolutely dependent upon it, and the British, as a means of winning the war, were offering to essentially turn the African slaves into a militia. And this problem will continue to plague the early United States and will eventually lead to the Civil War. People are always very critical of, especially nowadays, of the early American Constitution, because it had to by necessity include slavery. But what a lot of people don't understand is that in the early part, and essentially in this time, the entire world was kings and queens and lords and ladies and servants and slaves. And the only thing that separated a servant from a slave is that a servant could be fired, which in a lot of cases was the same as killing them and killing their family. I guess a servant could quit, but again, in most cases, the servants were so happy to have, or not happy, but were so dependent upon the job that they had, however menial, that, quitting was not really an option. What made the early America unique was that slavery had been confined to just regions of the country, and the founders, who many of them were involved with slavery, had felt trapped into the system, and they truly believed by confining slavery to the South and by ending the slave trade that this would end slavery within a few generations. But unfortunately, there was an invention of the cotton gin that made cotton very, very profitable and required mass labor that unfortunately kept slavery going until the Civil War. And there would be a major reckoning on that, as around 500,000 Americans would lose their lives ending slavery and forging a better nation. So anyway, that's it for this series. Hope the fan enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.
Please subscribe to General Fund for less dishonor.